Hey everyone, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by John Cartwright to discuss the recent rumor that Nintendo is working on a smaller version of the Switch that may release this year. So let's get started. And John, you're actually the one who covered this in our updates, so you actually know a little bit more about this than myself. So what is the basic idea behind this rumor?
So there's not a great deal that we know about so far, but basically Nikkei, the Japanese publication, just put out a report pretty much saying that Nintendo are presently considering the development of a smaller Switch model, and it's going to be this fiscal year, so releasing sometime between April and March of 2020. That's pretty much the gist of it. Steve did the translation for us, and there's a little bit more going on there we'll get into in a moment. But that is really the gist. There might be a smaller Switch coming soon. And in the past, Nintendo have kind of hinted towards this. They said about a 3DS successor. And I guess you can either interpret that as literally a 3DS successor, or something that takes away the 3DS's spot. Because they released their finances today, and the 3DS didn't have a major bump over the last quarter. So it's clear that momentum for 3DS is slowing down, and maybe it's just time to replace it with something. And maybe that replacement should just be a cheaper Switch.
And I think that makes a lot of sense. To have a smaller, more dedicated handheld version of the Switch. That is the beauty of the Switch. You can take it anywhere, it's handheld, but it's not exactly portable without a case. I have a case I can take it with, and it's no problem at that point. But it's not exactly like the 3DS where you just tuck it in your pocket and go. A smaller version does make sense to me.
And I suppose when you look at the Switch, the general Switch we have now, it is already kind of targeting the higher end consumer, because a $300 machine is not cheap. Not a lot of children can get that for Christmas or their birthdays. Whereas the 3DS was always been targeting that lower demographic. When it first launched, it wasn't, but then it had to do a major price cut to get there. And then the 2DS came, and we all laughed at the 2DS when it was announced, but that thing caught on like wildfire. Mm-hmm. So it makes a lot of sense to target down a lower price tag, especially when PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are already pretty competitive with the Switch's price, and in a lot of cases they're cheaper than the Switch. I have seen a lot of people they want a Pro model, basically what they want. But I do think this is the better way to go. Switch needs to go lower, especially with their lineup this year. I mean, Animal Crossing and Pokemon are launching in 2019, and they are major franchises, one of Nintendo's biggest IPs. To make that the most accessible as they can, a cheaper Switch makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, especially if you have families with multiple kids, rather than pass around the Switch. They can all crowd around the TV, but this way each individual kid can have a Switch, kind of like the 3DS or the Game Boy for a lot of cases. I heard a lot of kids, just each one had their own Game Boy, so they didn't have to share, or they could play together or something like that. And that's the great thing about even having a handheld Switch, is that if you get Mario Kart 8 for it, you can still play with a friend that's playing on their TV or on their own Switch. That's the normal version. And you're right, I don't believe a high-end Switch Pro is necessary yet, especially because we have, let's be honest, it's not going to be all the layout is there. It seems very likely that a PlayStation 5 and Xbox, let's go 2, is on the way. They're probably going to be putting out something like that. So even making sure to secure the handheld market, have that successor to the 3DS, ensure the Switch is there just as this high-end, amazing handheld that can play Doom or Wolfenstein on the go is still just an incredible feat, and sort of carves at that market that they'll still have, and potentially in the future, let's say 2020, 2021, then release the Switch Pro once you get a little bit closer to what PlayStation and Xbox are doing.
Though one thing that I am worrying about a little bit is if you have a Switch Pro, you can still maintain everything the Switch already has. But with a smaller Switch, you kind of have to make compromises. Will the Joy-Con still work? Because some Joy-Con reliant games like Super Mario Party, which just sold 5 million units, and you can't just play it in handheld mode, you have to actually remove the Joy-Con to play that game. Would they actually make it so you can't play Super Mario Party on a Joy-Con-less Switch that has controllers built in? Because the Joy-Con already, you can't shrink them much more, and you can't really exactly put them on a smaller machine either. So if you do a smaller Switch, you're probably going to have to ditch the Joy-Con.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate side effect, is just the way they have everything set. You can't really do that. You can't play 1-2 Switch without, separate Joy-Cons or anything like that. Because you're just setting it up on the background or however you want to do it. So, yeah, that is the tricky part of it. But I think Nintendo are prepared to go down that route. mainly because, well, look at the new 3DS exclusive titles like Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. They weren't afraid to have a game out there that not every 3DS could play.
Do you know what's interesting too? There is a Super Mario Party bundle that comes with Joy-Con. So, I suppose maybe they're kind of putting that out there so that when you do get this Joy-Con-less Switch, you can just get a Joy-Con bundle and play it like that.
Have it with you, have it on the side, and however they want to do it. But yeah, if they do make this smaller Switch, I do not expect to see a smaller removable Joy-Con. They might surprise me. Nintendo's, been able to do it, but I do think it'll probably keep it relatively simple. Otherwise, I think the form factor will probably be mostly the same. I really hope they don't change up the analogs and make them nubs or anything like that.
Go back to circle pads.
Oh god, no, that'd be awful. But you're right, with all the with handheld focused games coming to the Switch this year with Pokemon and Animal Crossing, it makes perfect sense to have that cheaper option. And even last year, I think it was, Game Freaks did say that Gen 8 was more traditional and had more of a focus on the handheld aspect of it. So having a handheld focused Switch ties right into that.
Yeah, that's a great point. And speaking of Pokemon, it was announced today that Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu sold 10 million units. And I'm just thinking, that is not a new generation, that's just an iterative title. And it released on a $300 machine at $60 retail price. And I'm thinking, if they have a smaller Switch, what's Gen 8 going to sell? This is a brand new generation on a cheaper machine with a larger install base. This thing's going to be nuts.
Yeah, I tell you what, if they can make Gen 8 as appealing as possible, this could be, we've already been blowing out the numbers recently with these Pokemon games, but I could see it just keep expanding, keep making it better. And we kind of got that experience with Let's Go, of a full Pokemon experience on a console for the first time. It was a great moment, but it's also not exactly what people were hoping for. And Gen 8 can actually deliver that, and to have it both as a handheld and console, yeah, this just hits all the right spots.
And I do just want to dive back into the Pro talk a little bit as well, because I know a lot of people want a Pro machine, and I do think it's going to happen in the future. I just do think they should target the lower price first and then go higher. Because yeah, $300 is already a lot, and I suppose they probably will price cut the Switch we have now. Even replacing a machine with a higher price tag, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The Switch needs to go lower, not higher.
I mean, I guess once it settles out and we have the Switch Pro out there, and let's say this mini Switch is actually a thing. By the way, I know it's classified as a rumor, but because it's coming from Nikkei and everything else, and it just makes so much sense, this is all but gospel to me.
Yeah, totally.
I could see the spread being $150 for the Switch Mini, let's call it, and $250 for the regular Switch, and $400 for the Switch Pro. Or maybe keeping it $300 and just lowering the price of the regular Switch. Who knows? Personally, I probably wouldn't pick up a handheld-only Switch because I, have one already. But it's a good way to get newcomers in.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of talk around the mini Switch is a bit negative, is because they already own the current Switch and they want an upgrade. And yeah, that makes sense for them. But there's still a large audience that's untapped at the moment. They've sold over 30 million Switches, and that's a great feat. But to keep momentum going, they have to keep the Switch fresh, introduce it to new audiences, and to do that, you kind of have to go into a different price rank, you need to do different things. So yeah, there will be compromises with the smaller Switch. You probably won't have detachable Joy-Con, you probably won't have HD Rumble. The IR camera might even go. In its place is a much smaller system that's more accessible to other people. And yeah, it just sounds like something that makes sense, and I'm with you. Coming from this source, it's more or less guaranteed.
Honestly, cool, I don't have to spend money on this thing. But Nintendo still gets newcomers in, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's not for us.
So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that other bit of news that came out of this Nikkei report.
Sure. Yeah, so this came out of the paid part, because they have the initial part which tells you about the smaller Switch, and then when you pay for it, you get this bit here. So we're going to give it to you for free. So this basically says that Nintendo are working on strengthening their online service to please core gamers. This could be adding new services to what we have already, or it could be adding another service entirely. From what Steve has translated, it sounds like they're just trying to strengthen the current online service. And we have kind of seen that in data mines, because Super Nintendo games are reportedly coming to Nintendo Switch Online. So this could be what they mean, but they could also mean maybe like adding voice chat or maybe usernames rather than friend codes. We don't know just yet what they could mean, but it's good to see that they know that their online service is lacking and that they're trying to improve it in some respects.
Yeah, I think it's hard not to realize that it's lacking. They could probably look at the usage numbers on the NES Online and be like, oh yeah, we probably should do more about that. And I think SNES games are a great way to do it, and especially with that lineup that they revealed, that's a good starting lineup of SNES titles. And if they could just keep expanding that, especially at a faster rate, the rate they're doing it is ridiculous. We'll see more of that, and they can actually make this online worth something. But as of right now, it's just a way to play Smash Online.
That's really what it is. It's a bill that you pay to play Smash Online. There are other things they could do. Like, we still haven't got themes. When you go into your themes menu, you just have white and black. Like, some kind of messaging service, because right now you can't communicate with anyone at all unless you're using the mobile app. But even then you can't message them. That's just for voice chat. So there's a lot of key things they could do for online.
It's woefully limited, and they could go in any number of ways and significantly improve the entire experience. It makes sense they're looking at ways to tap into that hardcore market, maybe convince more people to actually use the service, that sort of idea. Again, this is another rumor that just like, yeah, okay, I buy it.
Yeah, this all makes sense. I think we all kind of saw all of this stuff happening, with them improving online, with them doing a smaller Switch. It's just stuff that was inevitably going to happen. I do still think that if people want a more powerful Switch, hold on, it's probably going to happen, just not yet. Is there anything that they could do that could just surprise us? Something big?
GameCube.
GameCube would be the big one.
Uh-huh.
But I also expect them just to sell GameCube games as like remasters,
Which, to be fair, I mean, I'm kind of down with that as well. Just give me a way to play some of these old GameCube games, and I'm good. Hopefully they think of something that'll really make everybody happy. And SNES is a good start. I think the thing that would make me happier is just a wider selection. Yeah, they're dropping 20 games right now. How about 10 games a month? Like, they're releasing so many Switch games every week. Do the same thing for these classic games.
It's like the service is trying to mirror Netflix, apart from it doesn't have the selection of Netflix. With Netflix, you can just go on and watch whatever you want. Like, you're not really thinking about what they're adding, because obviously they do add stuff, but you're just looking at what's there rather than waiting for stuff to arrive. Whereas with the NES app, it's just so limited. Like, I almost feel like in a way they should just put everything on there, and then gradually put things in over time, like rather than rolling out like they are now.
Yeah, I think that's probably the better way to do it. Or, heck, just take what was on the Wii Shop channel closed. Take all the games on there that are just not available anywhere else. Pop them over. It can't be that difficult, especially if we can get those Japanese exclusive games that never got released before. Like, if we did get an N64 and we've put Sin and Punishment on there again, that'd be great. I don't know. I think there's ways they can make this whole service work and make people actually want to play them, but there's great games out there that they just need to make available.
I don't think we actually got their numbers from their finances for online subscriptions today. I would reckon it's probably rather high. It's a small price. It doesn't cost much to subscribe to online, and it's the gateway to playing Splatoon and Smash. So even if people aren't happy with the service, I would bet that they're still probably selling quite a few subscriptions. But at least, even if they are selling quite a lot, at least they're aware that they still need to be better.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. Basically, what they're trying to do now is improve the optics. So it's like, I want to get this Switch. I need to get Switch Online and look at all the cool things I get. So I think it's more of an optics game than anything else at this point. But all right, I think that covers it for our Switch Mini discussion, I guess. And so thank you for watching. And if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And of course, be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on the Switch and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.